And now I would like to ask Mr. Alessandro Senesi, Deputy Head of the Culture Program and Actions Unit at European Commission, Directorate-General for Education and Culture. Alessandro.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would like to say just a few words of introduction to our today's discussion. I'm afraid I will speak a bit longer than Danielle, but I hope to provide a few elements from what the European Commission is doing in this respect. Cultural heritage can, of course, be looked at from different angles. However, in times of financial crisis as the ones we are living in, its economic dimension is more relevant than ever. Both direct and indirect investments by past generations are still delivering a significant return, several centuries after they were made. Many of them are still generating jobs, greatly contributing to our GDP and spurring our never-ending quest for knowledge and innovation. The European cultural and creative industries, which the heritage sector is an important and account for 4.5% of Europe's GDP. By way of comparison, these figures are higher than, for instance, the car manufacturing sector or other industries that are much more visible in the press or the media in general. All the more in these difficult times, we have to speak up together about the fact that cultural heritage is an opportunity for investment that brings also long-lasting economic development. Europe's tremendous and diverse cultural heritage is one of the attractions that make it the world's top tourist destination. Although the upkeep of our heritage is, according to the EU Treaty, a national responsibility, Europe has indeed a role to play. And the European Commission fully acknowledges the importance of cultural heritage in the European economy. Last year, as you know, we launched EU 2020, our overarching and long-term strategy to help Europe find innovative solutions to the social and economic challenges ahead. At the same time, work has begun on how the European Union will allocate its budget for the funding period from 2014 to 2020. In this framework, it is therefore of paramount importance to look at how cultural heritage and culture in general can contribute to the smart, sustainable and inclusive growth objectives set by the EU 2020 strategy. The first objective is smart growth. At a time when many of our industries are facing difficulties, this is one of Europe's most dynamic sectors, capable of growing faster than the rest of the economy. The overall employment in the sector increased by an average of 3.5% a year in the period 2000 to 2007, more than 3 times as much as the EU economy as a whole. I would like to quote the example of the European Capitals of Culture, which are one of the best-known actions of the Commission in the field of culture and also one of the European initiatives with the greatest leverage effect. It has been estimated that for some capitals, each euro invested generated an extra 8 euros in return. Overnight visitors increased on average by 12% and often much more. Liverpool, for example, saw a 25% jump in the number of visitors when it held the title in 2008. And of course, we hope that Wrocław will record similar results in 5 years' time. This is an opportunity for a city to map a better future for itself and its region. The title provides a springboard for investment and regeneration, and it can generate longer-term jobs and growth. The cities that derive the most benefits from it are those which seize the year's momentum to embed culture as part of their long-term strategy for cultural, social, and economic development. Many cities have been totally transformed thanks to the title. In addition to the direct economic benefits, they have become a more attractive place to live and have thus appealed to further investments. The second objective of the 2020 strategy is sustainable growth. Culture and creativity have spillover effects on sustainability, even in sectors that one might not immediately think of. Their dynamism can indeed take many forms. For instance, helping to design greener public transport, nurturing environment-friendly entrepreneurs, developing new models in healthcare, or promoting changes in behavior. A switch to sustainable growth calls for a real sea change in how we view our world. Above all else, culture is an educator. It awakens our consciousness about the world around us and our place in that world. It promotes sustainability by prompting behavioral changes, leading to new and wiser ways of organizing our society. The third objective of the EU 2020 strategy is inclusive growth. Again, European capitals of culture provide a meaningful example of how investments in culture can help reshape a city in an inclusive way. Pech in Hungary was capital of culture last year, and it undertook a significant activity program to bring culture to the heart of city for the benefit of all citizens. Further afield, cities like Lille and Liverpool have used this title to give themselves a new and vibrant image in which inclusiveness plays a big role. Ladies and gentlemen, this contribution of culture to our future, to smart, sustainable and inclusive societies, is a reality we have to better showcase so that more initiatives can flourish all over Europe. Certainly, we are coming up against our own limits. As we all know, the whole cultural sector is facing more than ever severe budget constraints. Our report showed that there is still a long way ahead to fully reap the huge potential and spillover effects of culture in Europe. We have not yet managed to integrate culture into a new economic paradigm. Even within the European Union, our ambitions are not entirely matched by the budgetary resources available to support culture. In fact, a mere 0.04% of the EU budget is allocated to the culture program, which is Europe's main tool to provide financial aid to cultural activities. 0.04%. However, it would be a serious mistake to underestimate what we are currently doing. There is a wide array of support available for cultural heritage across different EU programs. Although with a relatively limited total budget, the EU Culture Programme has invested for the period 2007-2011 almost 30 million euro on cooperation projects dealing with heritage. The European Regional Development Fund has allocated for the years 2007 to 2013 3 billion euros for the protection and preservation of cultural heritage, 2.2 billion for the development of cultural infrastructure, and 775 million euros to support cultural services. A further 89 million euros has been made available through the EU framework programs for research and technological development since 1998. The European Union is also very active through awareness-raising actions that seek to showcase the value of cultural heritage. 2 examples: the EU Prize for Cultural Heritage Europa Nostra Awards, and of course the European Heritage Days that are a joint initiative between the European Commission and the Council of Europe. This action has an enormous potential, for which we would like to increase the European dimension and visibility. So I really look forward to exchanging views with the national coordinators this afternoon on these topics. Now, the time has come for the EU to make major decisions on its budget for the period from 2014 to 2020. We are committed to work to make sure that culture can benefit from greater funding opportunities in the next period. You might be aware that the European Commission unveiled its proposals last June, and one of these consists of a new program called Creative Europe, which, if approved, will take over from the current culture program as the EU main funding scheme for cultural activity. Also, recognition of the contribution culture can make to economy, the Commission proposed a 37% budget increase for the future Creative Europe programme. Should this be eventually approved by the Member States, this would mean that in times of economic crisis, Europe has the courage to invest more than ever on culture. Last but not least, I would like to mention the European Heritage Label, which is a recent Commission proposal currently under negotiation and likely to be approved at the end of this year. The future label will aim at highlighting historical sites across Europe that symbolize the European integration process. For example, one site that got labeled in a previous phase that was not under the European umbrella is the house where Robert Schuman, one of the fathers of European integration, was born. The Commission sees the label as a means to raise awareness about European history and heritage and to involve people in it. But we also expect it to contribute to the sustainable development of regions, in particular through cultural tourism. In conclusion, I hope all this conveys the idea of how culture and cultural heritage can indeed be a vector for social and economic development, and of the great importance that the European Commission attaches to this. I look forward to our fruitful discussions, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these comforting words on figures and plans of the European Commission.